We are live Wednesday. Oh my God, it's the Wednesday workshop for entrepreneurial speakers. And have you ever been in a situation where you're really good at what you do, but nobody knows it? Oh my God, that is such an annoying situation. And we are going to talk about solving that for you. We'd love to have you come with us. We have a guest here today that's going to help us talk about it. We're just going nuts here. It's going to be fun. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be another classic thing at Join Ray Live. If you would like to come in with us and talk us right here, right there it is. Join Ray Live, Join Ray Live, joinraylive.com. We're expecting guests. We've got all kinds of good things, but my first guest, I'm so excited to have her. She's a wizard of marketing. She will get you known. She'll teach you how to handle your PR. Please welcome the wonderful, the amazing, as quoted by Marvin, the Super Sutton, Amanda Sutton. Amanda, come on board. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, Ray. So good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you too. This is fantastic.
Yep. We got winter ski mode here. I got my skiing poster. The snow is falling. The snow days are happening with schools, so we're just full on winter here. But I love it.
And we're full on winter in California. It's about 60
Yeah,
degrees.
I'm sure.
There is some rain out here, and
yeah.
One of the people always talk about, well, you live in California and there's crazy people out there and the taxes are so high. Yes, and I've never shoveled snow in my life. Ever.
Best workout, buddy. You're missing out. I mean, the cardio alone, just keeps you young. What can I say?
I think you only get so many heartbeats, and if you do too many, then boom, you're out there.
Good theory.
And there you go.
I like that.
We got a lot of people out there. We've got a new special guest in the back room that I think that you specifically, Amanda, will love to see. And I'm not sure you know who this is right now, but get excited. We want to talk about getting people known, what could you say if you want people out there and they want to be known by complete strangers? What's your first tip? Give your first tip, and then we'll bring our special guest on.
Oh my gosh. The first tip of being known, you better be really good at saying what you're good at, and getting comfortable saying it a lot over and over and over, because we want to dig a big trench. We don't want to sprinkle little seeds all over everywhere. We need to dig trenches. We don't want to dig shallow gardens. We need to be, the expert in what we do. So get out your shovel and get ready to kind of dig in to your best stuff. That's my first tip.
Yeah, if you can't stand out, you can't be known anywhere. You are the best kept secret in your industry. And
right. Yeah.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
And the thing about standing out is like we have this association with being in the spotlight, and it's interesting. It used to be my tagline, and I changed it very early days because I changed it in the early days to put your message in the spotlight, because very often all of us just want to be us. We're not looking for a spotlight on us. We really just want to spotlight how we want to help the world. So first, let's change the mind shift, like the mindset of that, and then focusing on your message, not me. You can relate to that too. I know it's
absolutely
to talk about.
Absolutely. It's how do you take your native genius and make it something that is brilliant, that is viable, that you can stand by and use to help others, because we all enjoy helping other people do what they do.
And, right. But there's only ever one of you. So what, stand on that, teaching people to stand on their own mountain. Doesn't have to be the other guy's mountain. You're really good at that too. It's ownership. It comes down to what I do a lot for brands and people is kind of like, it's that ownership piece we talk about, which takes, baby steps sometimes, but you can teach people this. I figured out, pre-pandemic, I'm like, man, I keep doing the same thing. People keep hiring me for their company for the same thing, but people can do this. This is teachable. So, decided to turn it into a type of course situation where you're just walking them through the research and psychological process, so that at the end, there's a formula for knowing who you are. So it's teachable. It really is. And it's a skill you'll have for life, right?
Yeah. Charisma. teachable. Business skills,
Do you
teachable.
think so? Charisma is teachable. Actually, that's a question I had for you.
Oh,
Charisma,
uh-huh.
right? I don't know. That's like a scary word for a lot of people. Like, uh, and the thing is, like, absolute confidence, yes. How to answer a question, all day. The right wording, 100%. Charisma, it feels even with me and what I do and how I and the skills I have and what I give people. It's almost like it feels like this thing, like humor. Do you think you can teach humor? Question for you.
Well, I
Do you?
actually happen to be the inventor of a program called the humor algorithm, which is the process of creating humor. So the answer to that
Okay,
is
there you
yes.
go.
Uh,
Okay,
and
I love that.
charisma is a factor of a number of things. Now, if you can't figure out one thing, then the charisma triangle falls. And the hardest one, if you had to teach people, is people who are charismatic have a genuine concern for others. So
Yes.
sociopaths are charismatic, but they don't live charismatically. They can turn it on, turn it off.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So there's a triangle. I'm not trying to get what's your formula now for charisma?
Well, it's actually more than a triangle, but I was trying to say pyramid, and it
Oh,
came out of a
oh,
triangle. And where I grew up, see this right here, this thing, the locals would call this the town square. So it never really made sense with
oh.
that.
Okay.
Um, a genuine concern for others. You have to have confidence. You have to have humor. You have to have a, everybody I know that's charismatic has a genuine childlike awe and wonder,
Yeah, curiosity, big
and
time. Mhm.
that's teachable. Curiosity is teachable.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah,
What
I
can you
agree.
tell me about like that line of ants walking down the wall? What story could you
Right.
tell me that would make me
That's
interested
right.
to want to know more from you?
I
Uh,
love that.
People who are
I love that of
charismatic.
your skill set. Mhm.
Yeah, and it's I grew up the shyest kid in the block with a bucket on my head. So if it, and that's the thing about selling your brand and being part of your brand. It's got to be uniquely you, and it's got to
Yep.
be not even necessarily uniquely you, but it's got to be you, and it's got
Mm.
to be something that like your native genius is this thing that you can do so much better than anybody else. But because you can do it so much better than anybody else, you wind up underselling it and not charging enough for it.
That's right. Because it's so innate. You don't think
Yeah,
it's special. It needs to be pulled out, needs to be polished. I use that phrase quite a lot. Let's polish what you have. It's all there. You'd be so surprised. Yeah, yeah. And you know what? You know what the theme is too, which I love between both of what we both do is this it's like self-awareness piece. Like, it's you don't often think of like self-awareness and sales, self-awareness and marketing. It's, those are very rational, tactical things, but that's what we're talking. I think that's what we're talking about. I think that's how we can be bridges for
yeah.
people,
And
you
I
know?
think that there's really nothing new on the planet.
Mhm.
It's how you take what you're doing and using and make it your own and make it more understandable.
Mhm.
I'm a big fan of
More
making
relatable.
and with my name Ray, I can put Ray into just about any word there is. Like
Right.
becoming Ray Markable. And I realized this week that I have Ray DHD and Ray DD, all those
Yeah.
things. So people
Sure,
remember
Amanda's really easy too. Go, try to get do 3 right now. Amanda.
a man,
Yeah.
duh.
Yep.
No, I'm Amanda. There's one right there. But speaking about
From my
original,
childhood. Thank you.
yeah, I have a friend that her name is Nora Guy. Think about growing up with that. But speaking about
Okay.
original, one of a kinds, let's bring our first guest on here. There's now actually two guests getting in here. But
You need music for this. You need a build up.
yeah, dun, 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 dun. Here
Yeah.
is the one and only Buckethead.
Oh, man. Set up.
It's Charlie.
Going
Charlie
on.
Plosnick.
Charlie.
Is this the Katzenberg rehearsal dinner Zoom?
Yeah.
Yes, we are actually talking about 3 ways to make your swimming pool a safer place to live in? Go, Charlie.
Number 1, no peeing. Number 2, big floaties. And number 3, water wings.
Very good. Very good. And also, if you have questions for Charlie or anybody else on the panel here today, we can take questions too on Facebook, on LinkedIn. On Facebook, they appear right up in here with the comments. I'll put them up there. So ask what you want.
I have a question for Charlie.
Yes.
What room are you in, my friend?
We moved to a new home on
cool.
December 1st. So this is my new little office.
Congrats.
Yeah,
Great.
thank you. It's nice. It's beautiful. It's great. But yes, different backgrounds.
Yeah.
Thanks for noticing.
Good setup. I love it.
Charlie, tell us what you're creating right now.
What am I creating? Geez, I feel like I recreate my life sometimes every day. And I'm doing something as an avocation, if nothing else, that I enjoy doing. I've always thought about doing things for money and, doing something, making money. And now I'm realizing that I need to do something that I really like. And if I do it well, I think the money will follow. Does that make sense?
And what vein is it in? Like, what are you leaning?
In the exploration phase, Amanda. In the exploration phase, yeah.
That's a fun phase.
Yeah, going through the whole process, and Ray's been very helpful, just, listing things I enjoy and just, looking at that, just doing some exploration. But it's been really, really good and enlightening and, fun. Just want to start doing more things that are fun.
And here's a great thing for everybody out there, that if you are trying to create something, be it a new program, a catchphrase, a title for something, you need to test it out. And there's a very simple way to test it that whoever you talk to, they can't stop from giving you the reaction, is if you say something and they look at you and they do this, their eyes go up, is gravity defying behavior. You hit home with that and they like that. Oh, that's interesting. If they don't like it or they don't understand it, their eyes will furrow a little bit. And they won't ask you for clarification. You'll get smaller eyes. This part, the glabella, for all of you keeping track, the glabella, by knowing that.
Facial experts out there.
Expert. The glabella furrows. And when you have a confused mind, they're not accepting your idea. They won't ask you to explain it. You haven't done enough to get your point across, or there isn't enough to have that.
Did you know that originally the script, and when Harry Met Sally, Billy Crystal at the end said, and when you're the glabella goes like this. I love that. Do you remember that at the end of the movie?
Oh.
That line?
No, that was in the movie.
At the end of the day, at the last scene, and he's you saw the movie, right? The last scene when he is saying how much he likes her, he's at the party, and I love it when it's 70 degrees outside and you have blankets on and things like that. And I love it when your little thing goes like this, when your thing crinkles up here.
Cute.
They originally had the word glabella in there, but they thought that people wouldn't know what he was talking about, so he took it out.
That's funny. See, they reinvented. They had to know your audience.
And when Charlie said
they would have got stuck on that word, and the movie would have flopped. And so when
Charlie said that, none of us went.
Exactly.
Now, speaking of someone that will cause your eyebrows to raise, we have another guest in the back. We do need music for this.
This is your life.
Well, so the question is, so do we want to be like that? I like it better the other way.
Oh.
Yeah, I like that better. No. Let's see. There's not a lot of room left on most people's screens, but what we could fit is the CEO of Tiny But Mighty Coaching, Rena Mora.
I love it.
It is. This is your life.
Yeah.
Do you love the segue, though?
And I have a tiny head.
I have a big head. Huge.
It's well proportioned to your glabella. What is it?
The glabella.
The glabella.
I think if there's one
Proportionate.
takeaway from today's meeting, it's glabella. So far it's glabella. But these are there's so many in the Zoom world. There's so many little things that we've forgotten to do that allow us to read people, see what if what you're throwing at them is hitting, and the glabella and the eyes and the gravity defying behavior are things that we can't stop from happening. You can try, but if something goes, wow, that's good, or holy crap, what is that? We do that without thinking.
Never lies.
No. Yeah. And actually, we do learn that it's not the lying part. That's very hard to figure out. I get excited talking about body language. You couldn't tell. And we've taught our face to lie. Do you know what the part of the body that does not lie is?
The shoulders, the whole body. What?
Shoulders? No.
The nose?
The mouth?
No, not the mouth.
The eyes.
Shakira is right. Your hips don't lie.
Oh my God.
It's actually the lower part of your body.
Oh.
We can't control our feet. So for example, if you meet somebody, you can't really tell this on Zoom, which is part of the problem with Zoom, is if you are talking to someone and their feet are pointed to the door, guess where they want to be?
Yeah.
Out the door. They don't want to be talking.
Yeah, these are all your early networking days, these little clues, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day when we were face to face.
But these things here are things that we have forgotten about. The hands. And the hands show, if you can see somebody's hands, they are more trustworthy. Thumbs create confidence, by the way. That's a whole nother story.
Yes, I love that one. Oh,
and fireworks.
Yeah.
And
I forgot about that.
And snow.
Let's celebrate us all being on here right now. Drop the balloon drop. There we go.
Woohoo! You've mastered that now, Ray.
Yeah, I still don't know how to turn it off, but I don't really care. I like having it.
I don't have that feature.
I don't either.
It's in there somewhere. If you know,
Rena, how is Rena being curious these days? What's Rena working on? We asked Charlie the same thing. We were talking about curiosity and part of knowing who you are and digging into your uniqueness is staying curious. How do you stay curious?
I have been very curious recently about looking at the past, things that maybe I really enjoyed or didn't enjoy, and how to improve upon them, and learning from how I react to things and what that says about that moment, what's happening, and being less reactive, like really not being so reactive and being able to put yourself in a fact place so that you're proceeding with more intention. So
I love that.
I'm just in a very curious and disruptive place. I'm disrupting the norm.
Beginning of the year. That's okay. End of last year, new year, that shift. I like that.
Yeah, because I think that we have a lot to learn from ourselves.
How do you control this moment, Rena, when something happens around you and what you really want to do is physically say,
I look at my person like you, Ray, and you just know what I'm saying by the way I look at you.
Have one of those in your life. Yes.
I really try to not be reactive when I really want to, but sometimes I just will, a little queso will fly out of my mouth.
Are you kidding?
So that's a great question. So we're always in these situations where clients will give us that moment. I actually had to figure out things to say to myself to stop my face and my mouth from regurgitating what was really on my mind. And the first level was isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that's interesting is a good one.
I was driving down the freeway in Los Angeles and traffic stopped dead, and I just saw it stop dead, and I said, isn't that interesting?
That's interesting.
Similarly, Jim Rohn, his thing was, that's fascinating. Similar concept, yeah.
Yes. And he also did say, isn't that interesting? He used them both.
maybe that's where I got that from Jim Rohn.
That's a very Buddhist principle as well.
Well, now there are different levels of that where you have to go higher than that. So I was walking in the streets of San Francisco, and there's a lot. I don't know if you know this, but there's a number of homeless people in San Francisco. And I'm just walking down the street, and this guy jumped up right here in my face and looked me dead in the eye, right in my face, and said, "Are you Janet Jackson?" And I went through my progression. Isn't that interesting? And I needed a higher power. And I thought, what would Chuck Norris do? Now, not kick-ass Chuck Norris, 80-year-old Chuck Norris. Because 80-year-old Chuck Norris doesn't want to like scuffle. And I don't want to scuffle at all. But I processed myself and I thought, I looked at the person and I said, I get that all the time. I'm taller than her. And he backed up and he eyeballed me up and down and he said, I see that now. And he walked out.
Nice.
Yeah. And the other one I use quite a bit is my friend Flea, not the guy from Red Hot Chili Peppers. I don't know why we call him Flea, but it's just Flea. He was a roommate of mine for a couple of years, but he used to look at things and goes, "That's very unique," and that had a very calming. That's my favorite one. That's the one I use quite a bit. That's very unique. But when what would Chuck Norris do? That's
very you're right. It just it breaks tension because nobody wants to say nothing, gives you a pause, but it's also completely neutral. And whereas, I mean, Rena, you're saying you're reactive too, like Italian. I get that. Like I've had to teach myself every business, parenting, relationally. Just you don't have to go there all the time. But yeah, that's a calming, that pause that you get to go, is that bad or good? And you know what else? My kids are great at that. Oh my gosh, they catch you in those moments of quick judgment. It's a very woke generation. And they make no mistake about calling you out on everything. So that's my other tool to bring me down to reality and stop and pause. Yeah.
Have you tried, throwing back what they're saying back on them? For example, when they say something like that, are you mom shaming?
Yeah, that's right. Don't mom shame me.
Yeah.
Don't generation shame me. Yeah.
Are you mom shaming?
Yeah.
Don't
absolutely.
Whatever.
Yeah. I like that one. Okay.
Don't millennial shame me.
I'm gonna use that one.
Are you an ageist?
We're on generation alpha, people. Like it's cray cray. It seems like, millennials were the thing. Gen X took forever, but now it seems like they're just whoom, whoom, whoom. I mean, none of us here are generational experts. They are probably watching, but it's X, Z, alpha. I mean,
if you're a generational expert, get in here now. Join Raylock.
Yeah. Clear a few things up.
Hayden Shaw, get in.
I was just gonna say Hayden, Denise.
Yeah, Anna. Yeah.
I also will just say, interesting. It's a conversation piece, and it's not at the same time.
Oh my God, what isn't a conversation piece? Why can't people talk to other people these days? Darn it, get off my lawn.
I think people just are nervous to speak to each other. Think about like what Amanda was saying about Gen Alpha. They're not social. They're all in their devices. So the art of communication is slowly deteriorating. So you have people that are already uncomfortable with speaking, and then you have this whole other generation that would rather be looking at their devices. Communication is becoming a lost art.
And I think that those that can rise above that have a super advantage.
Oh, hell yeah.
Super advantage.
Which would mean know where you stand, to bring it full circle to our first conversation. Know where you stand. Where are your values owning them, owning your values. And you know what? This is so interesting. You point this out too, Rena. My dad, immigrant, Italy, like born in 1939, guys. I can't even get through my head. Luckily, he's still healthy, but very from coming from that generation and a war and all that, the fact that like loving marriage was there as a dad, like that's just check marks that generation wasn't taught, didn't, right? So I guess I'm pointing out how generationally you have to give people a break too. And I don't know whether Gen Alpha will be different than Gen Z, but somewhere along the line, the generation itself that might get shut in might not tolerate and kind of like take their own pause to step back and go, well, hang on, I haven't also gone there. And did this come from this context? Or maybe there's another context going on here that I didn't. So rather than go through all that, what I just described, they would do what you said, Rena, and just shut in. It's not worth it. It's too hard. But if we all stood on our core values, if we all knew a little more about ourselves and did the digging into what makes us unique, what makes our key messages, what we can own about ourselves, comes with all that self-work, it's way easier to talk to people because then you're not competing and you're not forcing a point. You are just coming together to share, and there's nothing threatening in that.
And to take that,
good night, I'm going home.
Just to take that a little bit further, also being, just being in that place of knowing that there is no judgment. If you have something to share, just share it without an expectation of how it's going to be perceived. Like just being able to have enough confidence in yourself to believe in what you're sharing and let it fall the way it may and be okay with it. And most of us are scared of that.
Totally.
That's what keeps people.
We got to teach ourselves not to be scared of that, I think. Yes. Because it's too easy to turtle inward. Yes.
Turtle. I love that.
Turtle inward.
Turtle. Go in our shell.
Well, going back to one of the first things
I guess you can't turtle outward.
You could, but then you're soup. Yeah. Yes. Then you're a homeless turtle if you're turtling outward.
With no shell.
Yeah, you're a shell of the man you were. So when we were talking about what is charisma, the real question is what makes you interesting? And what makes you interesting is being interested in others. You can say nothing and have people interested in you just by leaning in, nodding, and asking for more. The less you talk, the more people are interested in you.
Yep.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it really is.
The art of starting a conversation has gone to next to nothing since COVID because we're stuck with these little boxes. But yet, it's still possible to speak as if you are a friend to people. And if you speak as if you're a friend, they will treat you as a friend. If you speak like a complete stranger, they treat you as if you're a complete stranger. And for those of you out there, the four of us all know each other. And I will bet these three people cannot remember a conversation with me that ever started with "Good morning. How are you today?"
Nope.
Good morning, Ray.
I've never once said that. Like today, I actually talked to Charlie earlier today, and I said, "Oh my God, that looked like a boombox standing right behind you."
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, well, maybe it's a Marshall amp, a really first tiny Marshall amp. And we talked about that right off the bat.
That, Ray, honestly, is one of the most concrete things I took away from our collaboration together as a team. That is something I never forgot. It's so funny you brought that up. That kind of rocked my world a little bit when it came to just upping the game of human connection, but also business and sales connection. Like You're so right. It's so true. Whether it's in person and online or in an email, I loved that takeaway.
Talk like a friend. People will treat you friendly.
Yeah, the way you start, familiarity. Oh my gosh! And you could put it in a scientific lab and prove it. It's so true.
Oh, it's so easy to do. Well, I think it's easy to do. That's the thing about our native genius.
It's more who I want to be. Like it feels like in business or sales, you just, I don't know, you're following some code. And of course, there's respect and politeness. And we're all a little afraid, or maybe I'll just speak for myself. It's always like, should I break that third wall? Like it's like acting, like on a stage. Should I break that fourth wall? And yes, break the wall. Like we're done with, you can't, if you're going to get ahead in anything, you can't subscribe by those old ways. You have to shake it up a bit.
And you have to be scared. You have to be brave and bold.
That takes bravery.
There are hundreds of little tricks that you can do to make this easier for you. Background for those of you out there that don't know me, since all the other people in here that do, I spent 15 years doing stand-up. And I remember walking off after a really good show thinking, man, I wish I was more like the guy that I just was for the last hour. And in the last 3 or 4 years, I kind of became that guy. And so it's like it became so simple. And I realized that, oh my God, the stuff I do works. And there's a science behind it. And there's a lot of zeros you can put behind it that people have to pay you to do it. And because I came from the background where if you had $25 in your pocket, went in, had a beer, did a set, walked out with 37, that was a good night, And I learned from you guys and from all the other people that we dealt with. I'm a big fan of Do It Marketing with headed by David Newman, that those things that make you who you want to be are teachable, are learnable, and are things that you can do. You just have to want to do it.
And you have to shut out the noise, shut out the other noise. Way too many things that distract them.
What are you saying, Amanda? I was trying to shut out Charlie. He was talking.
I was tuning you out. These damn speakers, these microphones aren't working.
Yeah.
I was agreeing with you, Ray.
If we're looking at conversation, on Zoom, there's like each of you have 10 things that you could start a conversation on back there. And it's so simple, so easy. Rena's got the Eiffel Tower. There's some awards on her thing, some newspaper articles on there. And she's this big in my screen. And I can still tell what those things are. That little ornate thing that's back there that is kind of cool. There's a light. There's what you're wearing. Charlie's got headphones on. He's got a door that you could open up and have a monster come through and just grab him and take him off. He's wearing a hoodie with like a thing right there. Someone could walk in the door. There's something hanging on the wall. He's got an amp or a boombox right behind him. Who knows what's outside there? Oh my God, what pictures are on your other wall? Amanda's got the chair. She's got the thing. I obviously see people walking the side. Can you get the point that there's a lot of things you can talk about? People said, "Good morning. How are you today?" All this teachable, learnable, make you stand out from the others that do the exact same thing you do.
You got it.
That's how we roll.
And it takes practice. You got to make it a game.
It takes a lot of practice.
To make the game. Yeah.
If you write, if you write too, I didn't flip anybody off, but if you write, you grow this little thing on your finger. How do you do that without flipping people off? You get a callus on your finger. So if you put your body through repetitive stress, your body builds a way to deal with it. And your brain is no different. Well, I don't know what to say. That's because you've never tried saying anything. Say something, fail, fall on your face. That way your face accepts a punch better the next time. You see boxers that aren't that good, but have been in it for years. They have these thick things on their head. There's like, whoa, dude, we're getting beat up again. Let's grow some skin. Let's grow some skin so it doesn't hurt so much. And if you shake a hand of somebody that works for a living, I call talking not working for a living, but it is. Their hands are calloused and thick, and you know that they've used their hands for a lifetime of what they do. Here, your brain goes through the same thing.
Mm-hmm. I can't see any comments or anything. Are you getting?
Here's one that just came in from Chad Betts. Don't stand out with a pile of laundry behind you. So you could go in there and talk about people. Charlie's double checking.
Did you move it to the other side of the window?
Chad is the author of the book The Second Mouse Gets the Cheese. So he's been a guest on our show here before. But the things that you have, the stuff that you have behind you, the things that you're wearing, what are you doing, how you sit there, how you stand there, what your glabella does, Do
you know what I found since applying? We're saying like it's a tactic or trick. It's really just living life and interacting. Yeah. Which I'm still getting used to after coming out from COVID. I feel like it's the first 6 months that we wanted to be out and do things. So maybe I'm more aware of it. But I've noticed that when other people don't do that now, or other people are, being a little more not themselves, not curious, now it's so prevalent in other people. And I went out to, I had a meeting. I was meeting up with someone, and it was kind of meant to be more of a personal, really kindred spirit, connecting, a lot in common, let's get to know more type of connection in it. And there was just a part of the conversation when, like you said, they were going on and talking a little too much, that they started to sound garbled. And I'm just sitting there going, something shifted. And I'm like, they're trying to sell me something. Mother effer. I'm like it's just shifted entirely. It became nowhere about us anymore or me. But but they're so kind, and I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. I went out of my body and I said, that's interesting. And then I came back in. Now it just great to see you. See you later. But it's really neat. It's kind of like I said, you can kind of have a game with it almost, you can not take things so to heart and just have fun with human interaction and learning.
Well, so as a newly certified ethical practitioner of influence from the Cialdini Institute.
What now?
I know.
Whoa,
that was a lot of words, right?
That was a lot of words. I haven't said them,
wow.
so not that smoothly.
That's but fancy for us over here.
Certified ethical practitioner of influence from the Cialdini Institute. The author of Influence, Robert Cialdini, has given me a diploma that says I am such. The difference between, and because you always get asked this, because I know that over the years, I know how people will react to things that I say and do, and I can use that to get them to interact with me in different ways. And people say, well, isn't that manipulation? The answer to that is yes, and. Mm-hmm. It'd be the same way. Well, isn't that influence? The answer to that would be yes, and. The difference between influence and manipulation is that influence is when I'm using these truths and facts to make someone else's life better and easier.
Right.
Manipulation is when I'm using these truths and facts about how people interact to make my life better and easier. And so reality, both people have to walk away better. But if you know what influence is and how it works and how you can change people's thoughts about it, you can see when someone is trying to manipulate you into something. Mm-hmm. Right. So in theory, it would be much easier to con a very good influencer in some ways, because it's really easy to sell a salesperson. You just do a good job and they'll buy whatever you want.
I was going to say it's also true. Well, why do you think public speakers suffer from imposter syndrome? They've lost connection with their intent. They've forgotten they're just thinking about the tactics and the things and the eye contact and pause three here, you start to feel like, what? It's because you're starting to sell people and you've forgotten about the real methods. From my point of view, you've forgotten about the intent. Let's go back to your core values and remember how this message was, is so important. Do you remember what it's going to do? Do you remember the value it's adding? Do you remember the thing you wanted to have happen when they leave the room? Not for you, but for their organizations and their lives. Like, it's kind of that intent, I think, is that piece. Speaking of, people on stage, happens all the time.
One of the best sales trainers of all time, a guy named Jeffrey Gitomer, who he's got book after book after book after book, but he said that you cannot sell. There's 4 things you have to have in order to be able to sell. You have to believe that you're the best. You have to believe that the company you work for is the best. You have to believe that the product or service that you provide is the best. And then the 4th thing is that you have to believe that this makes your customer's life better and easier.
That's the biggest one, I think. Yeah.
That one, I've been a top salesman at companies. I've also not been a top salesman at companies. And when I'm not the top salesman at companies, it's because I didn't believe in the company or I didn't believe the product was better than some others out there.
Yeah.
And it's not like it just falls a little bit. It just, miss one of those things, forget it. Get to another company because you're not going to survive.
Yeah, I'd say the last one is probably, you could forego a couple of those others, but you can't forego that last one you mentioned.
You could think you're really good and the company's really good, the product's really good.
Yeah, or you could be real about the owner or the company and be like, you know what? I don't know. I don't know about all that, but I do know that this did this for me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just coming at it differently. Like, it's a hard sell to like believe in the owner, believe in the company, believe in everything. But the last one, you got it. 100, you bang on. It's that's
but
where it is.
Here's the other thing, Amanda, though. If you have the greatest thing in the world, but you don't believe in the owner, are you going to try hard to sell their stuff?
Well, no. Now you're talking employees of a company who's owned by another thing. Yeah, that's a multi-layered.
Yeah, and in order to be the best you can be, you've got to have all those 4 things.
That's right.
I forgot to put this up because if you want to get in touch with Amanda, that is her website. She also has a cool.
Well, we didn't talk about the freebie, but yeah, the freebie's like in the weeds. We could talk another time about the freebie, but it's like a scorecard. I did it ages ago when I created my course on thought leadership and how you feel like really, as everybody does, just down in the weeds with your stuff, meaning your content. And let's just not pump out content for the sake of stuff, blogging every day and things like that. Like just because. It's more like, am I adding value by doing this? How much am I thinking versus writing? How much am I being the authority here? And how much am I staying in my lane? And it gives you a score. If you're stuck in the muck, it's a high score. It means you're stuck in the muck. You won't get where you want by cranking out more stuff. So spend time understanding your audience better. The second tier is kind of like you're willing to get out. You know what you're great at, but you get stuck in like sales mode and imposter syndrome. And then the third is, cool, I'm pretty out of the weeds and I think I'm focused on the right things. I know my value and yeah, it's kind of fun. It could be a whole other topic, but.
So just write that down.
Oh my God. That's the original. The original. Let me get you a little new URL here for that.
And I will put that in the chat of when this actually percolates and finishes.
Here, I'm going to give you. I can give you a new URL for that.
And my friend Gregory Clark put a nice smiley emoji in there. I can't see who's on for LinkedIn, but I can see the amount of people that are on Facebook. So we've had a pretty good following today on Facebook. Can't see everybody that's in there, but if they comment or they put emojis, I can see exactly who it is. But yeah,
there's a short one. I don't know if people can still use that, but in a pinch, that's what I.
Okay, let's do that. Oops, not everything that's there.
Didn't think about the, didn't know if you're going to share it.
And we'll do that. So what's on deck? What's on deck for you next?
Charlie?
No, you, Amanda.
Oh.
Upgrade my speaker system. This is actually the first version of the Sonos, right?
Oh, okay.
We're having tech issues today.
What's up for me? I am going to go for a walk and stretch my legs after this. I've been sitting in this chair a little too long today. So that's what's next for me.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Rena, how about you?
Oh, I've got to get back into some work today.
Keep
I'm
it
like,
real.
what's next
Keep it real,
for me? I've got stuff percolating, and then I'm going to take a yoga class tonight to let it all out.
Yes. She's balanced. She's got her priorities straight.
How about you, Amanda? What are you working on?
I actually, yoga was on my agenda too this afternoon, a little bit later. But I'm also joining a local kind of like a work share space that I've been meaning to get into. So I'm going to put steps in motion for that today and get back into some more face to face and put a little more energy into that side for the business. Mm-hmm.
Is it a well-known workspace or is it a local kind of more workspace?
It is. It's we do have a few, and I've been a part of kind of collaborative creative workspaces for a long time, as long as I've owned my business. Not so much when I had the building with the employees, but now that I'm back to kind of consulting / contract, more autonomous, it's nice to step foot. I live in the country. It's nice to step foot back into the city, small city, not the big city, that's close by, and put names to faces. But it is one that is centered around innovation, and it's centered around the college that I mentor with. So I think it's just valuable relationships. They're doing a little more bigger things over there, just keeping a part of it. And I like the people there. So surround yourself with, the people you want to associate with and all that.
Yeah, who you have around you is usually a direct reflection of the income that you're creating.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, and that's been
100%.
a wonderful learning.
People need to remember that. People need to remember that. You are so right, especially any small business owners who are going to their same group they were going to for 15 years or listening to the same stories from the same people. Yes, freshen that up. Take a note. Who are the 5 people you hang out with the most in your business? It's a big one.
And one of the other things I think that would be a great takeaway for this is that realistically, there's nothing new under the sun. Mm-hmm. It's how you take it, add your authenticity to it, and make it understandable for people that don't understand the original. It's like Simon Cowell says, you made that song your own, you don't need to change the classics, but you need to make it interesting enough to go, wow, I've never looked at it that way. So our job is to show people a path to get where they want to go on a journey that they think they can't make. How's that for the impossible dream?
I like that.
I love it.
Because that's exactly what it is, right?
Yeah. And when I first started, because I first got exposed to, what is it, personal health? What do you call those things? Personal health, personal development.
Development.
And the first guy I listened to was Jim Rohn. That's probably where the Isn't That Interesting came from. But after listening to a couple of his things, I went to my boss at the time and I said, so can I take a shot at every personal development program that I'm ever going to hear? He said, yeah, go ahead. I said, are they pretty much going to come down to life is a series of problems that you control, and the only thing you control in life are your thoughts? And he said, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. So
ding, ding, ding.
There's a million of these programs out there, and you can pay Tony Robbins billions of dollars or you can start a grassroots movement and pay Charlie, pay Rena, pay Amanda, and pay Ray, and make the economy a better place. I'm running for president in 2024 because there's no money in the middle. I want to change that. I want all of you. I'm announcing my candidacy for the presidency right here.
Wow.
Because I believe that I saw what it's like. I want to have 6 guys hanging around me holding Uzis, one of which would take a bullet if somebody tried to kill me. How cool would that be? I want people to, we had tens of people watch us during this thing today. I want people to come to me. That's not bad.
I want to see you in a room with Putin and with, I just want to see the politics that come out of this, the conversations.
There it is. Hey, Ray 24. Ray, you are very wonderful. Might have $1 trillion. I promise not to do a bad Russian accent ever again on the campaign trail. Okay. So there you
on
have
your bus,
it.
Ray. Well, I'm Canadian, so I'm out, but these guys will be on your bus.
So I've got 1 vote so far, but I can't count it because it's in Canada.
No. Yeah.
Pay Ray in 24. There's money in the middle.
Nice.
There it is. I could wind up being like, what was that guy? Pat Paulson, the comedian that ran for president every year and owned a winery, and his son is filthy rich because he owned the winery. But he's a nice guy because I met him once. Well, cool. I want to thank you guys for being on this thing. And I want to thank Chad Betts for being, and Gregory Cart for putting things in there, and anybody else that I don't see any names. I just see numbers up there. So I'll figure out who was on there later. And thank you guys for coming on. I will be here next week. And Gregory, that's long. Going back to your comments on video backgrounds during Zoom, I frequently lose track of what the speaker's saying because I'm trying to read the titles of the books on their shelves.
You got
I heard every word. That is true. I do the same thing. I try and read the titles. I go, oh my God, I wonder what they're reading. And 30 seconds later, I'm like, wait, what did you just say? The other thing too.
Fine line. That's like your board back there, Ray. You better be careful.
Yeah. That's too small to read. That's too small to read.
Yeah.
But if you have all the books back there and they're only yours, what does that say about you? Look at me. Very good. Thank you, folks. Anybody who sees this later, if you put comments in there, I will get them and I will direct them to these people. And if you need to work with any of us, if you come to me, I'll make sure that they get it to you. Get it to these folks right here.
Because nothing good happens outside of a conversation.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Do It Marketing and David Newman, for bringing us together and allowing moments like these things to happen. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Ray. Thanks for inviting us.
Appreciate all of you. Appreciate you guys for getting us there. And it's good to see you. We'll come on any Wednesday. See now what happens if I do that, Amanda? Watch.
Oh.
Wowzy.
Yeah, now you want that more, don't you?
I'm not getting a new computer to have emojis on Zoom.
This one do.
Yeah.
Something.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Parade.
It's like your own parade whenever you want. That's great.
That's why we should live life as if we're in a parade.
I was just going to say, that's not such a bad thing.
The marching. I don't know if I would not have a marching band in my parade.
No.
Bagpipes? No.
Probably I would have a bagpipe troupe that didn't play and just talk. Get ready, 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's really nothing under these kilts.
Wore kilts and talked and walked around.
Yeah, the non-bagpipe, the baguettes, and just carry French roll covering their stuff.
Oh my God.
Okay.
That's what happens when you got Ray DD.
Derailed.
Ray DD.
I have Ray DHD. All right, everyone. We're signing off now. Thank you so much. You guys